All right. So please, can you hear me? All right. Sure, I did. All right. So can I start now? All right. Good. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ben Katoka, and I'm currently based in South Korea, and now it is almost 8 p.m. All right. So my presentation is the title is Same Institutional Landscapes, but Diverging Development Trajectories. Development performance in Sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. So there is a question here. Same institutional landscape, but diverging development trajectories. So what do I mean by this question? Well, basically what I mean here is that, as I will show later, uh, the two regions, Sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia, are populated by corrupt and authoritarian regimes. And the question here is whether these influence the development performance of countries located in the two regions. So please move on to the next slide. Next, please. All right, so as you can see in this figure, the figure shows you the proportion of people living on less than 1.25 US dollars. And you see that in 1990, the proportion of people living on less than 1.25 US dollars was above 40% of the total population in both regions. And then in 2015, you see how dramatic the improvement was in Southeast Asia, but still in Sub-Saharan Africa, the proportion of poor people is still above 40%. And with the coronavirus, we should expect the level of poverty to increase in Sub-Saharan Africa. So please move on to the next slide. So the performance is actually the same when we look at any socioeconomic metrics. So here, for example, you see the proportion of undernourished people. And you can see that the performance in Southeast Asia is much better compared to Sub-Saharan Africa. By SEA here, I mean Southeast Asia, and SSA refers to Sub-Saharan Africa. All right, so please move on to the next slide. So the poor performance of Sub-Saharan Africa has often been explained by the poor, the governance failure. So international institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank have been advocating towards, emphasizing the role of governance in development. All right, but please move on to the next slide. So in this graph, which is taken from a study by Mushtaq Khan, it was published in 2010, and the title is Governance, Growth and Development. And what is interesting about this figure is that it shows the growth performance and the performance in the good governance indicator across